very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through the industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Jeremy Haselwood. He is a best-selling author, entrepreneur, keynote speaker, and a digital marketing consultant. Welcome to the show, Jeremy.
Hey, thank you, Ajay. I've got to say, I was jamming to that countdown music. I was here nodding my head, getting ready to talk. So you selected the perfect music while people are waiting for this podcast to start, and it got me ready to go.
Thank you, Jeremy. That music, this countdown is from the software that I use, but
Hey,
that is not
perfect.
my own. But one thing I
Oh,
know is that you dabbled in music industry yourself, so that must be
yeah.
something much more original to talk about. So we'll come to that.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so first to understand about your journey of transformation itself, Jeremy. We will
Yes.
be talking about other things for the audience. We'll tell not only just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit. We'll be talking
Yeah.
about finding purpose, how one can
Yes.
move from living on the edge to finding their edge. So in that backdrop, your own transformation journey will help us, understand about all these things. So first, your own journey from finding your, about finding your purpose.
Yes, sure. Thank you for that. And I love the title for today, Living on the Edge to Finding Your Edge. Because interestingly, I know we'll talk a little bit about the book later, but that was the original title of my book was Living on the Edge. And like right before I got the final copy, the title of it just was like, this book is about finding it. You're not living it. You're reading it to understand how to live it. So perfect title for today's discussion. But as for me, my own journey of living on the edge to finding my edge, I'm live in the United States, born and raised in Oklahoma, which is right in the middle of the country. Moved to Atlanta, Georgia, when I was 20 years old to pursue a dream of making it big in the music industry. And I thought that was my purpose. I had a talent. It was my passion. Checked all the boxes. I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to do. And obviously, any form of entertainment is highly competitive. So I pursued this until my late 20s. And it just got to a point where being around the industry and having some mild success, nothing huge, but a couple mild successes, it kind of left me a little empty. And it wasn't really, I came to the determination that this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm passionate about it, but it's not my purpose. So then it's kind of figuring out, what do I do now? Because ever since I was a teenager, this is what I wanted to do. It was on my heart. I felt like it was my calling. But what I learned along the way is that there's a difference between passion and purpose, and there's a difference between talent and purpose. So I had to do a lot of discovery on myself, put myself through. I went back to school, got my master's degree. I did a lot of self-help, a lot of work, and really rediscovered myself and rediscovered who I was, what my passions were, what my talents were. And that whole journey is really what I write about in my book, creating a structure that I followed that it helped me out tremendously. And I want to help other people out. So now it's like, here I am. I'm a messenger of hope. And that really is my purpose, to inspire other people who have gone through similar transitions of uncertainty and maybe thinking this is what they were supposed to be doing in life, to rediscovering who you are and now beginning a new path.
Wonderful, wonderful. We'll come to your book, but before that, we'll come to your
Yeah.
expertise about understanding about life. One thing you mentioned about,
Sure.
about purpose and talent. Many a time,
Yes.
are talented and you think that is your purpose. You start moving in, and then you find it's not enough. This is not what you
Yes.
wanted. And
Mhm.
how, and many a times your purpose. So help us understand. Only for few people this talent and purpose might be the same. Why there is so much of mismatch between talent and purpose, the way as life unravels for us. Help us understand, how do we then find our purpose, especially when we are talented about something, but that is not our purpose. But we know
Yes.
only later on.
Yeah. An exercise that I have people run through is creating a list of what are your talents. And your talents can be talents that you're really good at, and or talents that you're not good at, or sorry, not talents that you're not good, but talents that you like and talents that you don't necessarily like. Like for example, like I'm good at Excel spreadsheets, and it's a talent, but I don't like that talent. However, I also have a talent for speaking, and I like speaking. So it's taking an inventory of all of your talents, and like literally like spend time. You have to take time to invest, like brainstorm, block out time, and write all of these out. And if you don't necessarily know your talent, because unfortunately there are a lot of people out there who say, well, I don't have a talent, or what is my talent? And so they discount themselves. But everybody, you listening to this podcast right now or watching it, you do have a talent. But you may not know what that is. And sometimes you can ask people in your life, friends, family, teachers, and get their opinion, because a lot of times people can see in you what you don't see in yourself, because we tend to be our harshest critic. So making a list of your talents and then making a list of your passions. For me, example, like I'm passionate about traveling, but maybe I have a talent, maybe I don't. But I think somewhere along the lines, when there's that intersection of talent and passion, your purpose may be found at the intersection of that. I'm not saying that it will be, but I'm saying that that would be a great place to start. Like, for example, if I'm really good with my hands and I like to build things and I'm passionate about providing homes for the homeless, maybe my purpose is to build homes or get involved with an organization and help provide housing for people who do not have homes. So that is one place that you would look in a way that you can easily confuse talents for your purpose. Like I think a lot of that comes from culture. Maybe it comes from our upbringing, our parents. Maybe it comes from the expectations that we put on ourselves. But just because you're talented at something does not necessarily mean that's your purpose. I think you need to sit in that and evaluate other talents and your passions and see what lines up.
Right, right, Jeremy. So you talk about crafting a life that matters.
Yes.
What is that life that matters? Is it about mattering to myself, or is it matter? It matters to others. How do I evaluate that? Sometimes it does not work. You think it's your life. You want to live your life. Then he said, "This was not the life, my life for. This was for something else." So help us
Yeah.
understand amidst this tussle,
Mhm.
and the hustle and bustle of life. How do you find
Mhm.
the purpose? How do you find that matters? The confusion is for whom?
Yes. I believe it's a balance of both. I think if you're only doing something for yourself, I don't believe that any human being is created strictly for themselves. That's certainly a selfish and self-absorbed frame of mind. Really, kind of like, what can I get out of the world, or what can I get out of people? And I think that that methodology is flawed. I believe that we are designed to give something. I believe that the gift that we have, like purpose, is a gift, and a gift is meant to be given, whether it's to your family, to your community, or to the world. So the way that you would really differentiate, that piece of, is it supposed to be for me or everybody? Yes, you want your gift to give. If you're giving your gift to the world, you are getting satisfaction to yourself. But if you're only giving to the world, and you're in a sense, even a martyr can know that their life matters, and know that, what, my life, even though I'm giving out, maybe I'm dying as a result of that, but I'm okay with that, and I know that this is my purpose, and I'm happy about that. Like, it's crazy to think that someone may be happy about dying, but if people know that that is their purpose, and that they know that once they leave this earth, that that is achieved, then there is some kind of peace within that. So I think it's the balance of the peace for you, but also giving that gift to the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well put, well explained, Jeremy, about that.
Mm.
Now, in terms of people, then how do they get onto this whole journey of self-discovery? When they do self-discovery, is it again about themselves, or is it about others? Why do we then call it self-discovery?
Yes. I liken it to, and this is my wife is, she's a counselor, and we talk a lot. And one of the things that she references is like the videos when you get on an airplane, and when they have the mask, you secure your own mask before securing others. And you have to take care of yourself, because if you're not taking care of yourself, then you can't be a better person for the people around you. So you have to take care of yourself first and foremost. So, when it comes to you know, things that you can do to identify how to better serve that purpose. You know, I look at within my book, I have a structure called edge, which is the whole, like, whether it's finding your edge or living on the edge. I think it starts with eliminating distractions. And that's what the E is. Like, you can't work on yourself until you get rid of the noise around you. And distractions can come in a lot of forms. They can be people, they can be, let's right here. My phone has rang 2 times since we've been on this podcast, even though I have it turned off. So it can be cell phones, it can be games, it can be television, it can be food. So there's a lot of things in identifying what those distractions are, because you can't really do the work on yourself if your mind and your attention is scattered out. So finding that peace, finding that focus to where you can even begin to start working on yourself, like, that is the absolute first step, is getting rid of those distractions, and then you start the work. And the discovering yourself, you can do, like, and I recommend this, like, there's a lot of assessments that you can take, personal assessments and batteries like Myers-Briggs. There's the DISC, even simple things like Gary Chapman's love language quiz, just to understand what your love language is. All these little pieces of information that you can find out about yourself help you identify the traits that reside within you that you've been aware of because you've been living in your body your whole life, but haven't necessarily been able to put your finger on in place what these things are about you. So the more work that you do, whether it's an assessment, whether it's counseling or coaching, all of these things help you to better understand yourself, that where now you can start to generate those goals, which is the G in edge, to create that life and have those goals and be intentional about the way that you live, so you can have that life of purpose.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now let's come to your book, Finding Your Edge: How to Unlock Your Talent and Purpose. So, firstly, who is this book for? But before that, why did you write this book? I want to understand the motivation. People can have so many thoughts. It's a difficult subject to actually tackle. You went in for the difficult part. I want to understand your motivation, especially when there are so many other books also around the subject, maybe by not the same name, but trying to deal with the same subject.
No, Ajay, and that's actually one of the questions that held me up for a little while, especially when I started this process of writing the book. It's like, man, you can go to Amazon and search personal development or self-help books, and you will have pages and pages and pages, some by some very well-known best-selling New York Times authors, and some by, someone that just wanted to put a book out. So the conversation in my head is like, why should I even put a book out? Like, there's, people can get similar information from, you can throw a rock and hit 10 people that are writing about self-help. And I recognize that. And for me, it's like, the reason that I decided to do it is because I know the journey that I went on, and I know the structures that I set up for myself. And I knew that what I created for me transformed my life. And if I can write about this, and if there's even one person, like, ideally there will be a lot more than one person that will read this and experience, or at least start a path of transformation. But if I can put this out for people to find, nobody in this world's journey is like mine. Just like all the other authors that write about personal development, they have their own journeys. And sometimes you can't relate to certain authors because maybe you didn't go through what they went through. Maybe culturally it's different. Maybe there was some kind of abuse or something that you suffered that they're not tapping on. So the only thing that I can do is put out my voice. And if you can relate to my story, and I've had a lot of great feedback about my book, and people saying that, wow, I've gone through the same thing. I talk about losing a job and going through unemployment and things like that. And especially nowadays, there's so many people out of work. A lot of people can relate to that. It's like, what do you do when life happens and the rug is pulled out from under you and you have to reinvent or rediscover yourself? And I talk about this in the book. So what did give me the confidence to do it is, like, my journey is my journey. Some people will like my message, and some people, it won't be for them, and that's okay. It's just being comfortable with who I am and what I'm putting out there. If I'm putting good out, if I'm putting some useful tools and help out there, then I'm cool. Like, I've accomplished what I set out to accomplish.
Right. And if someone says, Jeremy, what is this finding my edge? Means one understands it, but sometimes, it is like, is it about finding more about myself, or is it elbowing somebody else out by finding something, much more different than others, but, competing with others. How do I then understand it
Yeah.
in a much more positive way?
Sure. Yeah. And when you think about like living on the edge, that sounds like risky behavior. If people say, oh,
Right.
he's living on the edge, it's like, okay, this person is on the brink of danger. And when I created this model, the edge model, EDGE, one thing that I thought about is this word edge is so significant because an edge is the end of one thing and it's the beginning of another. So you're actually at this point in your life where one part is ending, whether that's an old life that you're leaving behind and a new life of purpose that you're walking into. So the edge is that time period where you're trying to do the work on yourself so you can actually transform into that next phase of life, what that next piece will be. And you're leaving one part behind, you're in the middle doing the work. And on the other side of the work, it's kind of like the hero's journey. If you're familiar with that, it's like you go through this cycle where your old status quo and how your life used to be, like you're now doing work and you're having to fight battles even within yourself. When you go through the process of self-discovery, it can be scary because sometimes you're re-experiencing because you're having to mentally go back and open up some of the trauma that maybe you've suffered in childhood or marriage or life or whatever, maybe the loss of people that are close to you, things that are heavy that we don't really like to spend a lot of time thinking in because it can emotionally drain us. But a lot of times when you work through that trauma, you recognize how strong you are and you've gone through trauma, but you're still here. So the edge is like, this is where the work is happening. And that delineation line of what was and what will be, like when you get to that what will be, you have found your edge. And now you're living a life where there's happiness, there's joy, and it doesn't matter what life throws at you. You're on your course and you're in a much better state.
Absolutely, absolutely. There is so much to learn from you, learn from your book, Jeremy, and I'm sure a lot of people would want to uh, know you better, learn from you, learn from your book, learn from you as an entrepreneur, and also get you to speak for them during their event. So, what is the best way
Yeah.
for them to get the best out of Jeremy Haselwood?
Yeah. I mean, there's many ways you can reach out to me. Instagram, you can follow me there. It's jeremy.hazelwood. Also, my website, jeremyhazelwood.com. You can connect with me there. My book is available on Amazon, Kindle, Audible, Apple Books. The audio versions, I read it. So if you don't like my voice, you might want to just get the printed version. If you like my voice, then get the audio version. But those are the best ways to connect with me and we can talk more. I also do coaching and there's information on my site about my coaching program.
Wonderful, wonderful. On this note, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.